Today we have 4 panels here, and today's event is sponsored by Korea Creative Content Agency.
Let's go, Korea Creative Content Agency.
Korea Mobile Game Agent Association, and now we have 4 professional gamers, also game experts here. And please introduce yourself. Let's start with Gerna.
Thank you very much for the invitation. With Syntract, I'm founder of Syntract. We develop games for the rehabilitation, so serious games. So we combine the rehabilitation process with some computer games through a glove. We developed a glove which can measure the hand function. So it is not just about the two-dimensional games, but we also developed some VR games. Therefore, it was quite interesting to test also the VR game now.
Sounds like Gerna is a real expert here. And Leo?
Yeah, so I'm Leo from Italy. Nice to be here today. I'm working for a company in the gaming blockchain industry. Pretty much the same for me. It was very interesting to test these games, especially the VR one. Yes.
Okay, next, Mike.
Hi, I'm Mike. I used to play video games ever since I was young. Ever since like Mario when I was like 8 years old. Played a lot of StarCraft, played League of Legends, played Dota. During my work experience, we worked a little bit with Zynga, that Zynga and Supercell that created Clash of Clans. So with that, with those 2 companies, I was involved within the gaming industry. Really excited to see some of the games that we've developed here and compare it to some of what we developed in San Francisco with Zynga and Supercell in Japan.
Okay. Last one.
Yeah, similar to Mike. A lot of the games I actually played with Mike. I played League with Mike.
Go to PC Bomb
yeah,
together.
I mean, interestingly, I work on something like Jenny AI, which is not a gaming startup, but we do gamify, like writing, getting people to just write articles in a more efficient, optimal way. So I guess that's my expertise.
Okay, I think there is no doubt that we have a 4 professional game related people here. Okay, then before we move to the K-Night review, and let's watch the trailer first.
Sure.
What do you guys think about DK Nash? I guess this game is like a Dota 10 idle game. Yeah, and what's the first impression of this game? Let's start with Leo.
Yeah. So it's a very fast-paced game. Definitely. When I started the game, I wasn't really helped through a tutorial, so I just jumped right into the battle scene. And it wasn't easy for me to really understand what I needed to do. So for the first few minutes, I was just following what was happening. Then I learned about the leveling up system, the power up system, and also how you can have more kind of warriors joining your team, right? So my first impressions were pretty fast. You need to know where to click in the beginning. So I would really advise to have some kind of tutorial. I'm not sure why the tutorial is not there. Probably because this is the English version, so still in development. But yeah, this is what I thought the first 10 minutes.
And you, Dave?
Yeah, I think it's like almost like kind of a deceptive game, because you would think it's like a fighting game, but it actually seems to be more like a strategy-based game where it's more about like formations and choosing which like upgrades to do. I personally enjoyed it. I also didn't like how there was no tutorial, like Leo said. But that might be like one of the motifs of the game, where like there's no tutorial, you jump right into it. There's also, the controls are not super like active as well, so maybe that's the point of what they're trying to do. I'm not sure.
And Garen, first
I
impression?
actually liked it that you just rightly jumped into the game and were directly playing, because I hated if you have to click through tutorials and have to skip every tutorial. So I liked it that you can just immediately start playing, but start playing for this game is kind of like in brackets, because you're more watching it. Like you're more
Yeah,
watching
that's
and
true.
just upgrading. However, like I did like that you can select where to put your formation and that you can have different formations. So you have to get used to which character does what, but after a time you get used to that, and then you can really select where to put which person, which character, and therefore quickly fight through the game.
I mean, same thing. It's not necessarily doesn't need to have an actual like a long tutorial, but I think the point that Leo and David are saying is that it's very abrupt, right? Like I didn't even know I was going to start the game. There's not even like a start button. It doesn't need to have a long tutorial. It could honestly just be like a 5-second like video demo, but maybe even like a start button to let me know that I'm starting the game, because it kind of jumps right into the game when I wasn't ready. And then during the initial gameplay, it is very much of just like trying to figure out what's happening. Am I moving the people? Am I upgrading? Like I'm just watching the battle. And also as I like upgrade, doing multiple upgrade, it doesn't seem to have that big of an effect, right? It doesn't seem like it changes the battle that much. In the early stages, you can kind of just like leave it there and then just like watch something happen, and it takes a while before I have to take action. And then as David said as well, that like knowing what you can do, like what are the actions you can do, they don't tell you that right off the bat. So whether it's having a tutorial or whether it's just like in the middle of the game, sometimes there are other games where in the middle of the game they will pause the game and they'll show like here's something you can do. That's another option in the middle.
Next to the tutorial, you could have like a main menu where you at least could change something. Because here there was no option to just make it pause and just do some settings. It was just continuously running.
Yeah, exactly. That's something I wanted to add. I didn't have any chance to look at a main menu, a lobby or something. You just get straight into the game, and I'm not sure if there is a it's just a battleground. That's all. I don't know where else to go.
I think like a lot of games right now, you can go into the game, but then as you play, there's a pause. You pause, the game pauses and it highlights a special feature, and then it lets you practice that feature before it moves on to the next part. So I think that's an easy way for you to like still get into the game and still experience. And the first couple of minutes, it's like you're not in danger. You don't have to do anything, right? So you can use that as an opportunity to teach the players how the mechanics work.
Yeah. Right. Oh, there was really serious answers. Even first question. Let's move to the second question. Is about how DK Knight improve their game to expand their business into Canada or US, like North America. How what they need to do. Like, let's start with Gernot.
So I would say first of all simplify it in terms of like wording and commands. So I would not just even highlight, I would just remove certain buttons for the beginning. So then it just starts adding buttons over the time, so that at the first view it doesn't look complicated. Because if it is like looking complicated, then you might already lose your first customers or players. And therefore like try to add that after each other and make it more easy to play and use.
Simplification from Gernot, and what about you?
Yeah, very similar. So this game, it's a very high context game, which means it's pretty flashy. There is something everywhere. You don't really know where to click in the beginning because your eyes are like your attention is catched by many things. This is probably good for the Asian market, Korean market. Something that might work. I'm not sure if in the West it's something that is going to be appreciate it in the beginning. So maybe something like he said, try to maybe gray out or not display certain options in the beginning to get the user, the player used to the game, you know, slowly. It's just too many things that catch your attention. You cannot really focus on what's happening. And this is common with games that have like some kind of high context communication style.
What about you, Mike? I think you're playing DK now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm reviewing and like seeing everything as we're doing this, right? So, I mean, one of the things that I think Leo mentioned was that there are buttons that you can't press. That when you press, it shows that you can't do this until you reach a certain level. I think to have that be more obvious, like grayed out, or to like or a lock screen to show that it's not available. Would be a lot easier, because right now it's like a little bit frustrating to try to figure out everything, and as I'm trying to figure out everything, a lot of things are locked. And in fact, actually, the two first ones are locked. So the two first buttons that I press, the two first buttons that out of the 5 buttons, the two first button, the dungeon, the summon button, these two are locked until much later on. And then even when I go into like formation of troops and go into the other buttons, it doesn't really tell me like what these troops are for. That there's a lot of different things, right? So I do think, I do agree with that. Like we slowly come on little by little by introducing like what's the basic element. Like what do these different troops means? What are the differences between characters? What are the things you can do? What's the first thing you can do, right? Because actually, when I start through the game, I don't know what's the first action, right? Like whether that's like any like businesses, startup, a website, any game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, piggybacking off of Mike, I think like even just putting like a lock on or anything is kind of still it's like a band-aid to the problem. I think those buttons should just not even be there if they're not activated.
That's true.
Especially in the beginning, because you want to get players hooked on the game, right?
Yeah.
You want to give them that dopamine to accomplish something. But if what all they're accomplishing is hitting all these walls of just like, you can't upgrade this, you can't activate this, I think it's like not a great user experience.
Yeah.
It looks really, I mean, like everybody said, it looks really complex. I think that's just one symptom of, I feel like Asian UX in general just happens to be more complicated than like most Western design. Like Asia has a lot of super apps, like Grab, like they just have like, you know, a million different functionalities. And I think maybe Asian markets, they're just more better at navigating these sorts of work user flows. But I think, like, for example, we're obviously both from American. We both had trouble with this, like a lot of trouble with this. Like we were working together at home, we couldn't figure out how to play. So I guess, I mean, there's nothing new I'm saying, but there's a lot of things that could be worked on, I think.
I mean, I feel that other things is like, I think one of the questions was about like U.S. market versus Asian market, right? Here, there's a lot of exclamation marks, like red exclamation marks. I can understand that the red exclamation marks means it's calling to attention, but a lot of times in the U.S. market, when you see a red exclamation mark, it means there's an error or something, like something's wrong. And especially when we go to, like, into soldier management, and when it's supposed to be a good thing, the exclamation mark is meant for that. You can upgrade your soldiers. You can add more powers to your soldiers. What I see, my initial impression when I see like all these red exclamation mark is like, so there's something wrong with this soldier. There's something wrong with this soldier. Right?
Yes, these real honest opinions and answers about DK Knight. And let's move to like a refreshing, casual sports game and Swing Dunk. And before we move on, let's see the trailer of Swing Dunk. Yeah. So now we have a swing down here, and I guess this game is like a little cyberpunk. Yeah, and what's your first impression? Like, let's start with the Mike, because Mike is a sportsman here.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, I played Rocket League before. One of my really good friends is actually super good at Rocket League, and I initially thought that the hard learning curve of Rocket League and of this game might actually be a deterrent. But what I find is that for pro players, for people who really get into it, and the fact that you can make these like awesome special combos, that's actually a gravitational part. Like it actually makes people really proud. They show it off, and people make a lot of videos about it. They build a community around it. Surprisingly, the fact that it is hard makes the pros have strong followers, because their followers all admire, wow, they were able to do like that trick, that they were able to like do this spin and make the shot at like this impossible angle and hit it in, right? So I think it does have a lot of potential to create some really cool content on top of just like playing the game for fun.
Yeah. What about you, Gerno? What's your first impression?
I did like the beginning, the tutorial, that it was like explaining very detailed how things work. Actually quite fun that at the beginning I didn't know that I have to use the mouse, so I just played with WASD, and then I figured out, oh, I can turn around. And you feel that in the game mechanics when you jump, and in the tutorial it doesn't matter, especially in the free play. So you can also do all this cool movements. However, when you start playing with others, like with the bots and everything, then you realize you never really have a ball around you.
What about you, Leo? Because you mentioned the Swing Dunk is your favorite.
Yeah, exactly. I have a lot to say about this game, so I'm gonna try to break that down.
Sit back and
This is definitely one of the best games that I played today. So I think it has a lot of potential for different reasons. They are targeting an audience of players that I assume are already used to Rocket League, right? So the learning curve is steep, I agree, but it can be overcome quickly by players that are used to Rocket League. So if they're familiar with Rocket League and they start playing this, they already know the rules, they know what to do. It's not something completely new. So they don't have to re-educate the players first. Secondly, it's very dynamic. And I agree with Gernot that some of the mechanics look a bit behind in the development stage, but I think they have time to improve that. It's very cool the way you can swing the ball, and also gives you a lot of satisfaction, you know. So while I was playing this, actually while I was doing the PvP, so playing with the bots actually, because there was nobody online at the moment. While I was playing with the bots, I was actually feeling, you know, the adrenaline. I wanted to score, and I scored after 2 minutes. But it was very cool because it gives you satisfaction. You know, the fact that you swing, you can dunk, keeps you hooked to the screen. So that was very cool.
So therefore, it would make sense to have like different game modes, not just the arena, but also some other modes where you just have to throw the ball or something against the opponents.
Actually, I think that's a really good point. Like this, like custom game, like in basketball, there's other games like horse, right, or just like target practice, right? Rather than just arena mode. We have like in real basketball, there's like the 30, like the 5 balls here, 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 and then you can just like practice shooting, right? Or like play horse against a friend, being in a specific spot and doing like a specific trick. So I do think having like custom game modes. A lot of games have like custom games or like side quest games.
Yeah, I'm sure the development team is working on that because they are smart enough, and I think the game modes is a very good point, and they would have think of that.
For sure. Yeah, I mean it's like a high skill expression game, which I think is cool. All the other games we played today, it seems like there's a pretty easily like there's like a best path forward. like you should click this button, you should upgrade these things, you should click this. But with this one, I think like the word that resonated most with me was when Leo said dynamic, where it's based upon like the environment that you're in, what your enemies are doing at the moment, where the ball is at the moment. So it leads to more like, I don't know, like cooler plays. I don't know. I enjoyed the game. I think it was like the best game.
Let's move to next question. Like, is there a big difference between tutorial and in-game mode? Yeah, can you guys tell me the difference?
I mentioned that quickly before. In tutorial, it's very long and it's very calm. It's quiet. You don't really feel that adrenaline, so you don't know what is expecting you next because you feel like, okay, it's easy to dunk, it's easy to shoot, it's gonna be an easy game. But then when you actually jump in the PvP, everything is dynamic, everything is fast. And you need to kind of keep control of what you're doing if you really want to shoot or if you want to dunk. It's not that easy because everybody's jumping into you, everybody's blocking you, you don't really know where the ball is going, so it's very fast-paced and there's a learning curve there. So you need to learn how to navigate through the map, right, through the arena.
And you guys think that game developers need to develop the tutorial to be more exciting, or
no, I would think the tutorial is fine like that. I would just make like small games with this mechanics what they use. So for example, that you maybe play with one bot at the beginning.
Ooh, that's a good idea.
Instead of just having the whole arena filled, or just having like the Dunkins. So yeah, or like you have more elements in it. For example, some rings where you need to jump through to make the stunt. This would actually like maybe help some people to start getting used to the mechanics even more. Because when I saw the coworkers playing, the like jumping and then turning the ball around you, that looks cool, but to copy it is for some people a bit more difficult. So to have like levels that you see like jump first through this ring, then this one might help.
Wow. Okay, and let's move to last question about swing dunk, and what is your guys' suggestion to, let's say, swing dunker wants to go to US or Canada? What do you guys suggest to do?
Marketing wise or game design wise?
Any kinds. Yeah.
I think both. I think we're about marketing channels and also game wise. And speaking game wise, I think there are not many changes to be made. The game is already pretty westernized. It's not like the previous game. It's way more straightforward. You know, if you're looking for something, you know where to find it. Again, the whole lobby, the menu resembled a lot something that I've seen again and again, right? So it was easy for me to find my way. And also in-game UI was pretty on point.
Yeah.
The first thing I expected that you can customize your player.
Yeah, exactly.
Like somehow make it cooler, fancy or something, but you go in the lobby and there is nothing like that.
Yeah.
They do use a lot of icons, but that's fine. I mean,
there are some icons at the top you can click. So the first thing I did, honestly, after the tutorial was not playing, but I was just playing around with the menu, trying to look at all the options, right? So I found what I was looking for, but you need to move around a bit. I think it's
what I think would be quite fun to involve a bit more interaction between the players. So if you play, for example, with your friends, I like that they have this energy thing to the ball, like this, I don't know, rope kind of thing. So maybe they could integrate more things that a team plays together, not just everyone shooting for the goal himself, but actually that you need to work together, or that you have bonus effects if you work together. This will create then more multiplayer feeling that you're not just playing alone, but playing with friends. And this way maybe you get hooked more to the game and invite more people. So maybe trying to create this snowball effect. Hey, let's play together because then we can make a big team. Like the same as for League or Dota. You like it, or at least I like it, to play with friends because then you can really coordinate each other and not just write in the chat. And the same for this one then.
What about your suggestion or advice in marketing wise?
Well, I mean,
I think that it's pretty clear all of us like the game, and these are all like just feature suggestions. I think the biggest problem is actually marketing-wise, because we all came into just thinking, oh, this is just a clone of Rocket League. It's just similar to Rocket League.
Oh yeah,
Like,
right.
If someone says, hey, let's play this game together, and it just looks exactly like Rocket League, I think you have to have a pretty compelling answer as to why, like, oh, like it's better than Rocket League because of X, Y, and Z. And I think eventually, like they were talking about, once you have that network effect where a lot of your friends are already playing the game, then it's pretty easy to like get people to join you. But until you kind of hit that critical mass, it's pretty difficult. So I think it'll be a difficult like branding endeavor for the team to be like, this is not a copy of Rocket League. Here's why it's different. Here's why it's better. And then here's why you should download it now. So yeah, I think that's probably like more integral than maybe the features, because these are important, but the most important thing is we all have fun playing it. So
Alright.
yeah.
I also found in the menu, I don't know if you saw it, guys, but there is a ranking leaderboard.
Mm.
So there are actually people playing.
Yeah.
There are a pretty good amount of names there.
Yeah.
I think what could be implemented in the future is also maybe contests, tourneys, things like that. Because it could definitely work. I mean, there is potential, right?
Yeah.
They just need to detach themselves from Rocket League. But there is potential there, yeah, definitely.
Okay, thanks for the honest answers and advice suggestions for Swing Dunk. And let's move to World War D. Yeah, in the next video. Thanks so much.
Thank you.